What's up, Panthers Nation? We're back today with another video. Keep pounding! So we're taking a look at the 2020 opponents, home and away, in this video. If you are new to the channel, please like, sub, and hit that bell so you don't miss any new content. And leave a comment if you feel so inclined to do so. I know that sounded really sloppy, but okay, let's go. So for the home opponents, let's dig into these first. You know, you're looking at the Falcons and Saints at home, typical, and the Bucks as well. That's division opponents, so that's 3. So here's what else we're looking at: Arizona, Oakland, Denver, Detroit, and Chicago. Now, I don't need to remind people what Oakland did this past year, in these past few years. That is a team not to be underestimated at all. You look at their past history. I have to say, I've been impressed by them. But this past year, could have had a better year. Well, let's see how they actually did. I'm going to pull this up on Google real quick. Oakland Raiders. Let's see how they did. Schedule. Alright, so here's what we're looking at for the Raiders. Last year. And, you know, we're only interested in the regular season, so let's take a look. They beat the Broncos 24-16. They lost to the Chiefs 28-10, who are in the Super Bowl right now. They lost to the Vikings 34-14, another playoff team. They won against the Colts 31-24. Beat the Bears 24-21. Bye week. 42-24 loss to the Packers. Again, playoff team. 27-24 loss to the Texans. Not a surprise there. Texans have been on a roll. 31-24 win over the Lions. Not a surprise there. 26-24 win over the Chargers. Yeah, I can see that. Chargers were horrible. 17-10 win over the Bengals. And then that horrible loss to the Jets that knocked them out of the playoff contention. 34-3. Yikes. In New York. Ooh. And then, the very next game, that Jets game started their slide. So, you're looking at a 40-9 loss to the Chiefs in KC. Oof. That's gotta hurt. And then, you got the Titans. 42-21. They lose to the Titans. Ouch. They lost to the Jaguars 20-16. First half of the season, the Raiders looked impressive, but once they got into that second half of the season, yikes. 24-17 win. They rebounded against the Chargers. Lost to the Broncos 16-15. And that finishes it up. You know, so you're looking at a very roughneck Raiders team, but still a very dangerous Raiders team. You know, even in their early losses, they still hung 14 on the Vikings. They still They still got 24 on the Packers defense, which was really, really good, by the way. They still got 24 on the Texans defense, which was very strong. You know, and it wasn't until that Jets loss in New York that's when they started really falling off the table. They still managed to get 21 on the Titans. So I mean, you're looking at a Raiders team that could potentially be very, very tough if they get the right players. So that's a dangerous game at home. I don't know about that game. I think we can win it, but I don't know. We probably are going to tank next year. Lions we can beat. Bears we can beat. Cardinals we can beat. I can see those three. But I can also see us dropping one of those as well. So, I mean, that's typically what we do. Every year. But this is not going to be the same Panthers team in 2021 as the past 5 years. Now, let me tell you why. We're going to be drafting. We're going to be filling positions. We're going to be fixing problems. We're going to be playing physical and harder football in 2021. I can promise you that you will start to see the results on the scoreboard. You'll start to see them in the stats book. You'll start to see them on the records. As we make our march towards the playoffs in 21. If we get the right players. And that's a big if. And it starts this offseason. Alright, so then you've got the away teams. Your typical division opponents. Buccaneers, Saints in the Dome, Falcons in the Dome. Then you got the Redskins against our former coach, Ron Rivera, and Scott Turner. I feel like either Ron and Scott are going to learn their lesson, or they're not. I don't know what the future of Josh Norman is in Washington, but I'll tell you this much. If Ron and Scott make the same mistakes as they made in Carolina against this team, they're going to wish they didn't. Because our defense will be playing stronger. They will be playing tougher in 2020. It may not look like it on the scoreboard, but we are going to start pushing some buttons this coming year. And that's one of the teams we can be aggressive against. They don't have that much. They don't, it's not real exciting when you look at the Redskins. But I feel like we win. Ron will probably make the same fundamental mistakes he made in Carolina that got him fired. And I feel like that's going to be a W. So now you're looking at the Chargers. And the Chargers are not going to be sitting on the bottom of the league next year. I can promise you that. The Chargers, and we're gonna take a quick look at them. If you guys don't mind. Let's see how they did last year. I guarantee you this will not be the same team. And so they beat the Colts 30-24 in overtime first week. That's exciting. A loss to the Lions. 13-10. A loss to the Detroit Lions, really? Really, Chargers? A loss to the Texans, 27-20. At least they made it respectable. Blow out the Dolphins. Everybody does. 30-10. Lost to the Broncos, 20-13. Not real exciting there. Lost to the Steelers, who were struggling this past year, 24-17. Then you got a loss to the Titans, 23-20. They made it respectable. But that was before the Titans started really ramping up. So then you got a win, 17-16 over the Bears. Not real exciting win right there, but it's a W. It's on the board. A win over the Packers. Now here's where things got interesting. 26-11. The Packers had a real bad letdown game right there. And it looked ugly on Green Bay's part. They had a lot of potential in that game. They had a lot of weapons, and the Chargers found a way to shut them down. So then they followed it up with a loss, 26-24 to the Raiders in Oakland. Not a surprise there. Lost to the Chiefs, 24-17, made it respectable. 23-20 loss to the Broncos. They've been putting up a decent fight against these teams. And that's what I want to point out. This is a team not to be underestimated. Just because you see some of these scores doesn't mean that they aren't playing tough physical ball. You got a win over the Jags, 45-10. Exciting there. I know. Got blown out by the Vikings, 39-10. Not a surprise there. Vikings were starting to heat up. So the Raiders. 24-17 loss to the Raiders again. 31-21 loss to the Chiefs. 17-13 loss against the Cardinals. That one's gotta hurt. 19-17 loss against the Saints. Hey, they put up a good fight against the Saints. They woke up and they said, okay, we're going to play some solid defense here. But it wasn't enough. So then you got the Seattle Seahawks loss, 23-15. And you finish it up with a win over the Niners, 27-24. Shocker right there. I think everybody was shocked. That's preseason, though. Their final week was against the Chiefs with that 31-21 loss. That sealed up the West. But, I mean, you're looking at Cardinals, Saints, Seahawks, 49ers in preseason. That's 4 playoff teams. That's 3 playoff teams, correction, in the preseason that they faced. Interesting. Really interesting. And they still have a lot of weapons out there in LA. I almost said San Diego. I meant LA. But they still have a lot of weapons out there. And that's a very potentially dangerous team. They're going to be even more potentially dangerous once they get their draft picks signed into the roster and start really pushing in 2020. I don't know what we're going to see out of the Chargers next year, but I can guarantee you it's not going to be the same thing you saw this year. They might start winning a few more of those games that they were starting to get close on and took losses. So I feel like they're going to beat us. That's going to be an L for us, I think. Chiefs, we already know what they can do. We already know how loaded they are. That's an L. Green Bay, that's an L. Lambeau Field, we've had terrible records in Lambeau Field. terrible. In fact, let me pull up what the record is actually in Lambeau Field. I want people to see this and know this for sure. It's playoff. No, Panthers history. In Green Bay. Okay, here we go. And this is according to the football database. Green Bay overall leads the series 10-6. But you know, we're talking about all the way back to 1997 was the first time we actually played them in Lambeau. So that's a win, a loss, a win, a win, a win, and then another win. Wow. Okay, I was wrong. We actually do have a decent record up in Green Bay. So that's a 16 times we played each other, including one postseason game. Okay. So I was incorrect about that. I stand corrected, folks. I thought we were doing a lot better, a lot less against the Packers in Lambeau, but I was wrong. Huh. Alright, so I still say that we're going to lose that game just because Green Bay's loaded and we just don't have enough talent going into 2020 to match them. That's going to be like a 24-17 win or something like that. You know how it is whenever we play them. We bring it pretty close and then we just don't get it done lately. But here's Minnesota in the away list here. In Minnesota, we all saw what Minnesota was doing this year. We all saw exactly how much talent they had. And I haven't seen anybody retire yet from any of these teams. So, they're not looking to replace a veteran. Unless they cut him. Or they move him in some way. Through a trade or something. But, frankly, I see us getting maybe 4 wins in 2020. That's just first look. Now, I don't know what these teams are going to look like come training camp. I don't know what they're going to look like post-training camp. But I'm just saying, first look, overall, 4 to 5 wins. Which puts us in the top 10 in drafting. That's not a bad thing, folks. We're rebuilding. We're in a rebuilding phase. We're not looking for an immediate response. You know, let's get to the playoffs. Let's make a Super Bowl run in 1 year. Yeah, that's not how it works, folks. Not in rebuilding. If anybody thinks that's how it works, you clearly don't understand what rebuilding means. So, you know, and as I said in the last video, Phil Snow is going to revitalize this defense in 2 years, 2 to 3 years. He's going to make this team look physical again, just like it was in 2015. And I can promise you, that was the most physical team I've ever seen the Panthers have in their entire history was in 2015. And I just hope we end up there again. But just some side notes. We're 12-12 against AFC West teams. Panthers are 18-18 against NFC North teams all time. 2021 marked the third straight season the Panthers have faced off against the Redskins. Don't care about that. Carolina played in KC for the fourth time in team history. Arrowhead Stadium. That's an L. Thank you guys. That's got to be an L. I don't see how any way that we win that game. I don't see it. That's like going into Gillette Stadium against the Patriots at their best, at their peak, and trying to win that game. I don't see it. I don't see it, folks. But that'll mark the 8th time that we played in Lambeau Field. So, skipping over most of this. Carolina has only hosted Denver twice before next year's matchup. The last time we played them at home was in 2012. And we're 7-17 against the NFC South in the last 4 seasons. 7-17. Can we not gloss over that number right now? Can we just pinpoint that number right now? 7-17. Are you kidding me? With the amount of talent that we've had on these teams in the last 4 years, 7-17. Criminy. That's an awful number. That is an awful number right there. Next 3 years, man, we're going to recover. We're going to recover. We're going to turn that number back around. We're going to turn that frown upside down. And you know what? We are going to keep pounding. Thank you for watching.